In this lunchtime snippet of Dad Teaches, I want to respond to a video. Let me move my picture here. There we go. This young lady is, her name is Courtney Ryan. She's one of the many people I listen to on radio, as YouTube plays during the day while she will pop up, and I am subscribed to her because, it's a different take on things, and I think her take is usually genuine. So, and she definitely, from my point of view, comes from a younger point of view, so it helps me understand maybe the younger generation a little bit better from a different perspective. And this video, what she's got here is, this is why girls don't like you. It just came out today on the 19th. I'm filming this like not even 20 minutes after seeing this, maybe a half hour, who knows. And go and watch this. I'll make sure a link is in the description of this video to watch this. What she's describing, though, well, let's go ahead and listen to this here for a minute.
Everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to
go.
Any of these behaviors are going to immediately cause disinterest.
Let's go back here a little bit.
Why they're not having success. So let's get started. Number 1, you are clingy, needy, or desperate.
All right. You're clingy, needy, or desperate. And this is, when she said this is why girls don't like you, I'm guessing this is or I'm assuming she's specifically addressing young men. Clingy, needy, or desperate. What is this? This is, well, it's a very feminine trait. It's a very insecure feminine trait for the most part, right? I see this as these young men being raised by single moms and being primarily raised by an Xbox. I've run into this time and time again as being an instructor, as being, involved in other people's lives. The boys are they're very little boys still. I put them in the age group, even if they're 18 to 25 years old, I'd still categorize them as being 5 to 8 years old in that emotional part. And I think it's because they've never been fed emotionally. I think they've been just put in front of an Xbox their entire lives and hope that everything turns out. Whereas I think in some ways, they're still dealing with separation anxiety. Let's see if I can go to the next. Hopefully she puts those tags up for everything. She has 5 points here. I should have taken some notes here. We'll go to the next here.
Because a healthy relationship does not involve clingy, needy, or desperate behavior from either side. And the last point I made about being clingy, needy, and desperate are often symptoms of this next thing I'm going to talk about here, which is point number 2, insecurity.
Insecurity. Well, insecurity, I think, drives most of this. I think insecurity, personally, should have already been number 1, but we got to figure out what drives insecurity. And insecurity is when you focus inwardly too much, and you judge yourself how you think other people judge you. In a lot of ways, I used to teach this as with new troops, when putting them in front of formation, making them do PT formation, maybe march the formation out there. And they would be very, very nervous because it's kind of a public speaking thing. And if they'd never been in front of a crowd or a group or whatnot, or spoke to somebody in a professional manner, they may not feel comfortable in this role. And then you have to get them comfortable in this. I used to start doing this when they were very young soldiers, E3s and E4s. Well, E4s, by the time they were an E4 specialist, I expected them to be very comfortable in doing all of this. The secret to success in this is you watch other people and figure out, am I judging all these people? Do I go to the store and I judge everybody that's going through there? When I talk to somebody, am I automatically judging them or am I being engaged with them? In the terms of like a formation, I always told them, I was like, do you judge me when I'm up here? No. I was like, and the basic rule of when you're running a formation, for instance, is when in charge, be in charge. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you might not look silly, sometimes. But you also learn to roll with it. You make a mistake, whatever, okay. And some people will correct you because they're not correcting you because they're being critical of you. They're correcting you because they want you to get better, right? They're also, everybody like in the platoon is invested in your future and wants everybody in the platoon to be better. Insecurities, I think, drive a lot of this because you're just not experienced with the things. I would say, if you want to get over some of these insecurities, I'm not going to play this whole segment because, like I said, this is a 10-minute video of hers. I don't want to take her whole video up. I just want this to be a supplemental video, I think, from an old guy's perspective. You take this idea that you go forward and just learn how, go out in public, go to the store or whatnot, and observe people. Do you see other people observing each other being judgmental, or are they just going about their day? When you observe them, are you being judgmental, or are you just observing? Are you just gathering data and so forth? And the same thing happens even like, last night, for instance, I went to the store real quick. This girl walked past me, big, huge smile. She had a mouthful of braces. She's probably like, I don't know, early 20s, She was cute and attractive. But, I figured she was probably having a good day. Now, there was 3 times in a row in about 5 or 10 minutes that, she's walking right past me and looking me in the eyes and smiling. Did I engage in this? No, because I was tired and whatnot, and it's really not something that's on my mind right now, Chances are, the things that are on my mind, it wouldn't be the things that she would want out of the relationship. Well, let's just put it that way. So, we'll keep it at that. However, you can practice your insecurities, or practice getting beyond your insecurities by addressing them directly, And that goes for anything, any skill or anything that you feel that you have a weakness in. You address that. If you feel like you're physically weak, you can do that. Gravity is your friend. If you feel that you're bad at reading or writing, you can practice these things. You can get better and more fluent in it and so forth. If you feel that you're bad in using your hands, well, go out there and use your hands, and get practiced at it. Is it an overnight thing? No. Are you going to feel, because that, on this insecurities thing, I've witnessed this too many times. I don't even know how many times to count this over the past 10, 15 years. That the younger generation feels that, well, I need to practice this, whatever this is. They practice it exactly once. They're not good at it. And they're like, see, I'm just not good at it. Well, of course you're not. You've never done it before. To be good at something, it takes a lot of practice. And I'm talking weeks, months, or years of practice of doing something. And, think about it this way. Professional athletes, they've been an athlete from when they're, 5 years old all the way up until they're like in their early to mid-20s, maybe even older in like professional sports. And you know what they have? They still have professional trainers. Why? Because they're still always continuously learning, continuously getting better. They didn't start at 5 becoming a professional athlete, and by the time they were 5.5, they were there, and now they're just growing up with these skills. No, it doesn't work that way. You're continuously molding yourself into a more refined thing, whatever that is, an athlete or a mechanic or an engineer or whatever. So your insecurities are largely based on the fact that you don't go and do things.
Like pointing out your insecurities, needing reassurance all the time, saying things like, oh, you're so much better than me, I don't know why you're even talking to me. Stop doing this, guys.
Yes, I agree with that. Stop doing that. And if you can't help it, get away from your mom. Go find some men to be around. And there are places. Go enroll into a fighting club, right? Whether or not it's like your local jiu-jitsu dojo or MMA dojo or whatnot, it doesn't matter your physical fitness strength. It will, at the very beginning, when you can't lift up a gallon of milk without breathing hard, you're going to get your ass handed to you, but you will grow as long as you don't give up. And that's the biggest thing, is your insecurities are usually largely driven by how often you give up. And I'm going to say a lot of these guys that she's addressing in this, you younger generation, maybe some older guys too, but older guys still fall into this insecurities trap too. And you just got to be a good friend and say, knock it off. Anyways, on to the next.
And to not highlight or point out your insecurities all the time is going to be a huge stepping stone.
Oh,
Any of these
sorry about that.
are days and times
I
when
want to
not
pause this. When she says don't highlight it, there's a couple of young gentlemen I've ran into in the past that think that their weaknesses are their strengths. I think they largely get this from the schools because their mothers are completely unengaged in their lives. They've been unengaged for 10 or 15 years, and these boys are raised by an Xbox. So they go to school, and the school teaches these boys that you should be weak in every category. Well, and I'm talking every category. Some of the weakest, most pathetic boys I've ever met in my life exist right now in this day and age, and they're between the ages of about 15 to 25. They have no notable skills, and I'm not talking about maybe they should have skills. No, if they stand on their feet for longer than 10 minutes, they're whining about how much it hurts. These boys' accomplishments, I have heard time and time again that they've sat on their ass playing a video game for 36 hours straight, and they didn't even get up to go to the bathroom. Sitting on your ass is not an accomplishment, boys. Sitting on your ass is not an accomplishment. You know why you're insecure? Is because your skill is sitting on your ass. Anyways, on to the next.
Stepping stone for you, so keep this in mind. My next point, number 3, is a negative attitude and playing the victim. Think of a time you had a conversation with someone who was just negative the entire time, constantly talking about problems and complaining or playing the victim, and just how draining that was for you. Did you enjoy that interaction or conversation? Probably not, because it's incredibly unpleasant. So keep this in mind. You don't want to be that person for other people that's constantly complaining with a negative attitude and negative Nelly.
Playing the victim also kind of dovetails into what I just talked about a second ago. If you have no skills in life and you've been taught by the Xbox on how to be a man, which is being essentially taught how to stay a 5-year-old boy, of course you're going to feel like you're the victim, because of course you're going to think that everybody else out there is better than everything else as you, because of course they are. And that's the problem, is that they are better at you, or better than you in everything. Now, that one guy might not be better at everything. He's probably not going to be better at Xbox than you. That's for sure. However, he's going to be better at a lot of other things. He's going to be more physically fit. Even if he does nothing more than just have a regular job at a grocery store, he's going to be more physically fit than you. If he knows how to use his hands and put things together or read instructions, and, at a bare minimum, he can go and get IKEA furniture and put it together, right? All by himself. You're going to feel insecure about these things, and playing a victim on this is like, oh my God, I just feel so bad about myself and blah, blah, blah. Well, get over your insecurities, get out there, gain some skills, and quit being a victim. The victim card is for the weak women out there. And I'm not talking about women in general. I'm talking about those weak women that also I categorize to be still in that 5 to 8 year old range. Because you know what? Mothers abandon their daughters too. So, and hope that they use schools as a daycare, and the schools raise them to be the victims, because somehow this victimhood is a strength. It is not a strength. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. You shoot words at me and I shoot rounds at you, guess who's going to win? Anyways, on the next topic. Let's see if I can find her heading. Let's see what she says.
Is one that a lot of you are not going to like, but that is your appearance. Do you put any effort into yourself, or are you lazy and you've completely let yourself go?
This is a very... Go to the grocery store, and there's a lot of people dressed, and this is a women and a man thing nowadays. There are so many people that dress like bums. Now, I have the benefit of dressing like a bum when I'm here, but I definitely take my time to dress up a little bit whenever I go out into public, unless I'm just running to the store for like 5 minutes last night, and this is what I wore through my Woolby shirt on real quick and just ran to the store. But I'm not out there in sweatpants, and I'm not out there looking like I haven't showered in a week or whatnot, and I certainly do not smell like I haven't taken a shower in a week. This is a big deal, gentlemen. I want you to go around and think about the times that if you just went out and witnessed people doing this. I mean, I guess this is the problem I see, is that the younger generation of men right now, they don't even see this. It's completely oblivious to them. Their rooms are usually a disaster, and their rooms will stink like rotting food. and some kind of old meat. And I know some girls that are like this too. They're just disgusting creatures, and they don't see anything wrong with it. And then when they dress like bums, they're okay with showering once a week, even though it's impacting the entire household. And you have to pretty much say, you're going to take a shower now, or I'm going to drag you outside and put my knee on your neck and hose you down in that freezing cold water and scrub you down with a brush. And we're going to keep doing that until you figure out that there's easier ways to clean yourself. Take pride in yourself. And I think this is where it all comes down to too, is that the younger generation is taught to be such a victim that you create this victimhood for you. And you're like, oh, look at me, I can't even, I'm this forlorn, rich kid. And I only say rich, but in the world standard, you're rich. Because you can go to Africa where people make, maybe $100, $200 a month. They dress nice. They take care of themselves. They clean themselves. And their standard of living, it doesn't equal the same standard of living we have in the U.S., but they're not even at the high standard of living in the country where they're at, right? And they still maintain and still take care of themselves. You're driving yourself into this victimhood. You're driving themselves. You want people to see you as a child. That's the biggest thing. You want mommy. Let's go to the next heading.
Is ugly, just maybe a little bit lazy. And last on my list, number 5, is that you're being inauthentic. And I know this sounds cliche, and I know you're probably thinking, wow, good last one to end on, Courtney, but it's incredibly important, and that's why I had to include it in this list today. If you're trying too hard, you're bragging, you're trying to get her attention, you're pretending to be someone that you're not, chances are she can probably tell, and even if she can't tell in the beginning, it's going to come out eventually, which...
That is very true. Being inauthentic. The reason you're being inauthentic is because of the previous 4 things there. And it's all driven by your insecurities, and you're hoping to impress somebody with things that you are not. And it's because you've never developed yourself. How do you start developing yourself? That's the key question, I think. The key question has a simple answer, and it means you have to get outside and do something. You have to go outside. I would recommend go to a gym, go to a dojo, right? Go do something that's going to better yourself. You can do bettering yourself for free even, but I would recommend you being around other people. You have to be around other people because we learn socially, and we learn what's acceptable and what's not. The problem is that the people that you're around right now are going to be on the headphones or on social media, and they're not real people. They're all you all are playing a game on who's the biggest victim. Whereas you need to go out in public, you need to go out in real life and play the game on who's going to be the best success, and find those people that are going to help drag you to success. Now if they're trying to drag you too long and you don't get up on your own feet, they're just going to drop you because you're not worth their time. But they're going to push you, they're going to push you, they're going to push you, and eventually you're going to learn to push yourself, and you're going to eventually turn into the person that will push other people in your future sometime. You can't work on yourself in isolation. There's no such thing. Unless it's just doing push-ups and set-ups. I'm sure you can maintain your physical fitness, in isolation, but too many of you young gentlemen out there put yourself in prison, and that prison looks like a room with trash and nasty smells and an Xbox. And you keep yourself in this prison, and then you keep yourself a victim. And then you think that victimhood is somehow a strength, and it is not a strength. You will lose in every aspect of life. The longer you stay a victim, the longer you will always lose. And if you want to win anything, if you want to do anything, you want to be able to take care of yourself, which I know is a hard thing to ask these younger men to do, is take care of themselves. But, eventually your mama, she's going to die. And it might not be until you're 40 or 50 years old. But when you're 40 or 50 years old, she's been, keeping you on her nipple for, your entire life. Can you even take care of yourself, or are you just going to wither and die? Would you even notice if your mom died? Would you notice if she died until the food ran out, and then you'd notice a week later, 2 weeks later, that she had died? That's a hypothetical question, but I seriously have concerns about these things, because I don't think you young men pay attention to the world at all. You're so locked onto yourself and trying to portray some kind of strength through video games to the world, where you should be training the strength of yourself through, how much you can pick up and how much you can persevere through. Anyways, that's the end of my video today. It's gone on 20 minutes. Have a great day. If you have any comments or questions, put them down below. Thank you.